And away.
And deep voice.
He's probably pretty tall.
He doesn't sound like he's really old.
They're great.
Meet the voice of Tony the Tiger, 80-year-old Thurl Ravenscroft.
Well, Tony miraculously has not aged at all. But unfortunately, I have, after 41 years. They're great!
Thurl doesn't make public appearances as the voice of Tony, but that doesn't stop his adoring fans from recognizing his voice.
A lot of times, if I happen to be talking around a bunch of kids that do not know, they will say, where have I heard your voice before? And then all I have to do is just begin to be like Tony. And immediately they know, and the first thing they say is, do it, do great, do great. They're great.
Do it again.
I've laughingly said ever since that I've made a whole career out of one word. And I'm the only man in Hollywood that can say that.
Today I am a god.
Do you know who does the voice of Bart Simpson?
I'm blue. Time for some of my patented spitting off the overpass.
America's most popular underachieving boy is played by a superachieving woman, mother of two, Nancy Cartwright.
I went in to read for the voice of Lisa, and I couldn't get a hook on her. So I was sitting in the waiting room, and I picked up the picture of Bart, and I said, the kid, I want to do the kid. So I went in, and I said, I can't do this, Lisa, but I got the boy. Let me do the boy. He said, what does he sound like? I'm like, no way, man. And I was hired on the spot.
Although Nancy invented Bart's voice, her contract specifically prohibits her from doing TV and radio interviews in character as Bart.
People ask me to do the voice all the time, but there's legal restrictions. I can't just go and throw his voice around whenever I want. I don't own it.
Oh, man.
There are parts of me that were very Bart-like. I got suspended when I was in, what grade was that? 7th grade. I wrote something pretty nasty in permanent ink in the bathroom on the wall, and I can't believe it. The principal got called down.
Oh, jeez.
He says, oh, I understand you like magic markers. And I was like, oh, yeah, I like... And then it hit me. Oops, busted.
Busted.
Hey, Ren, look what I just bought. I suppose you bought another stupid subscription.
In just 2 years, the outrageous adventures of Ren and Stimpy have gained a loyal following. But do you know the secret behind their very different voices?
It's the last word.
In film vaults like this. One is the blockbuster film Terminator II. It has a secret ending that's never been revealed on network television. Until now. Terminator II thrilled audiences worldwide, grossing more than $490 million. In the film, the Terminator returns from the future to protect a young boy who is destined to save the world from a nuclear holocaust. To Hollywood executives, the film's success is no secret. What is a secret is that there were 2 different endings shot for the movie, a common practice in Hollywood today. Before we see T2's unseen ending, we'll travel to San Francisco to see how movie studios use focus groups to test and select the perfect Hollywood ending. Candidates for focus groups are selected by street corner recruiters looking for just the right type of moviegoer to see the film.
We're just looking for people to take part in future screenings.
Okay.
And you fit our demographics perfectly.
After being greeted, fed, and pampered, participants are ushered into a screening room to view the film, while market researchers view the participants' reactions through a 2-way mirror. Then, after the screening, the viewers' opinions are analyzed.
The first ending lets you breathe and imagine.
And I think that leaves the door open, you know, like that's not really the ending.
There's still that many more opportunities.
This secret information is then used by the studio to determine if changes need to be made in the film. In most cases, the studio will make these changes without the director's approval, unless that filmmaker is one of the privileged few who have the last word on the final cut. One such filmmaker is writer-director James Cameron. After his success with such films as Aliens, the original Terminator, and The Abyss, Cameron was given final cut on Terminator II.
Well, final cut, it really doesn't change anything. You still have to do what's best for the film, and a lot of people have opinions about what's best for the film, and as a responsible filmmaker, you have to listen to them. In the opening of the film, we see a playground after a nuclear war where all the playground equipment has been burned and blackened, and then the ending was to show the alternate future that came about as a result of the efforts of Sarah and John. And when we put the movie together and sat and watched it, it just felt a little too sweet. It's essentially the movie of the script, but no movie is ever the movie of the script. The script is what you start with when you start the voyage, and when you end the voyage, you may be somewhere else. So we took that ending off and we went to the dark road, kind of going into darkness, the uncertain future, and that seemed to work better.
Certainly, it was a braver choice than I expected.
We did screen it once with the happier ending because we had already raised the question to ourselves, is this really the right thing? And the audience seemed to concur. So we all looked at each other and went, aha, see? So we very quickly whipped together the alternate, which I had already had in mind. Sometimes in that pressure cooker of finishing the picture, the most instinctive responses are the best, and that's really what happened there. It was just instinct.
In the climax of both versions of the film, the Terminator sacrifices his life. And now, for the first time on network television, we present the secret ending of Terminator II in the director's preferred widescreen format. The unseen footage begins after Sarah, played by Linda Hamilton, reacts to the Terminator's demise. It's the last we see of her as a young woman. The unseen footage begins as a blast of light propels us 30 years into the future.
August 29th, 1997 came and went. Nothing much happened. Michael Jackson turned 40. There was no Judgment Day. People went to work as they always do. Laughed, complained, watched TV, made love. I wanted to run through the street yelling, to grab them all and say, every day from this day on is a gift. Use it well. Instead, I got drunk. That was 30 years ago. But the dark future, which never came, still exists for me. And it always will, like the traces of a dream. John fights the war differently than it was foretold. Here, on the battlefield of the Senate, his weapons are common sense and hope.
Tie me, Grandma, tie me.
How's that?
Thank you, Grandma.
The luxury of hope was given to me by the Terminator. Because if a machine can learn the value of human life, maybe we can too.
The only secret left, will there be a Terminator 3?
Well, T3, that's a secret, of course. We can't talk about that.
About to run to the refrigerator? Sit tight. The next secret may change your mind. And islanders survive the terrifying trial by fire. Secret reason why the food you cook at home never looks as good as it does on TV. It's a secret that could make you lose your appetite. The food in this supermarket commercial was prepared by an expert called a food stylist. As you'll see, she's more of an artist than a chef.
We've discovered that in selecting lipsticks for strawberries that there are a couple of colors that seem to be most strawberry-like. One is called Certainly Red, and one of them is called British Redcoat. I'm going to replace this berry. It sort of has a bad top there.
Food stylist Carol Peterson can't doctor the product being sold, just the foods you see around it, such as a hamburger in a soft drink commercial. Since it can take all day to shoot a commercial, a spray of plastic sealant keeps the buns fresh and dry. Lettuce is easiest to work with when pinned in place. A cold meat patty brushed with oil will look hot, but won't wilt the lettuce. Next, the cheese is dipped in hot water to give that fresh off-the-grill look. The ketchup has been strained and drained, then applied with surgical precision.
And now it's ready for camera.
But this is just a taste of what food stylists secretly do to tantalize your taste buds. Pork chops look their best when they're undercooked, then singed with a backyard charcoal starter.
Let me see the size of the pat of butter.
And buttered corn on the cob looks hot and delicious thanks to a device sometimes used to relight water heaters.
And once it starts to run nicely, we pull the flame out and the camera rolls and you have a luscious piece of corn.
All right.
Okay.
Corn never looks so good.
Carol has secrets for every course, even dessert. Jell-O holds its shape indefinitely when you quadruple the amount of gelatin in the recipe. And here's the scoop on an ice cream sundae that is guaranteed to last all day.
It's actually a combination of Crisco and powdered sugar and Carol syrup.
The real challenge is making a roast turkey look like it's done to perfection, even if it's stone cold.
This turkey has been cooked about an hour instead of like 4 or 5 or 6 hours that you'd cook it if you wanted to get it done. But we just wanted to give it the beginning of a cooked feeling. And now I'm going to